Mahad Mohamed, the CEO of Block3 Finance, the expert in North American crypto tax. Welcome to the Bitcoin.com news show.
Thank you so much, Bitcoin.com, for having me. You guys do an amazing work for the community. I've been following for 15 years Bitcoin.com in terms of what he's done, in terms of educating crypto users and everybody else. Just to tell you a little bit about me, and then I'll tell you a little bit about my firm. My name is Mahad Mohamed. I've been an accountant in Canada for 25 years. And my background includes working for Big Four, government authorities, and as well as dealing with a lot of regulatory review and enforcements during the time that I was with the Canada Revenue Agency in terms of auditing people and so forth. But my crypto journey started back on April 11, 2011, okay? 15 years ago. And back then, there wasn't a lot of information that the government published, regulatory standards, how crypto traders are taking care of investors, builders, NFTs, miners, cross-border crypto activities, intercompany governments, and so forth. I've been privileged to do everything on my own and to be able to build an amazing team to be able to help you, both in Canada and the US, as well as other parts of the world, in terms of providing accounting and bookkeeping service. Now, talking a little bit about my firm, Block3 Finance has been in business since 2011. When I got into crypto and I was doing all these trades and buying and selling, I didn't know how taxes would be treated. I was writing to the government agencies, both in Canada and the US, asking them, how do you treat crypto activities? Am I doing a capital transaction? Am I doing a day trading? Those were the questions that I asked. And often enough, my firm, Block3 Finance, now specializes and supports traders, investors, people that are dealing with crypto activity on a daily basis, high volume trading, DeFi, staking, NFTs, mining, crypto cross-border exposures. And we predominantly work with both individuals who are operating in centralized exchanges and as well as on-chain protocols in terms of allowing them and helping them deliver proper crypto reports, audit support, tax structures, and making sure that they're fully compliant. And we take the position of helping them that if they do have an audit, that their records are clean and defendable, if it goes to government authorities in terms of scrutiny. So those are some of the things that we've done. Our firm's philosophy is keeping it simple. And I always say it's not what you make, is what you keep. And I try to help every single individual, as well as crypto companies, making sure that what they make is not what they give it to the government. It's, I help them, and we all help them in terms of helping them keep. And I have 44 full-time accountants that every single day, we take pride in helping crypto users. And that's something that we're proud of.
Very impressive. So you're also a crypto OG, not just a tax expert.
I bought my first Bitcoin when it was $1.11 back on $1.12 USD. That was back on April 11, 2011. Back then, I was using dark web websites in terms of buying crypto. And it's scary being a government employee back then and buying crypto in an underground website where people were selling illegal pills and all kinds of things. So I'm happy to say that not only that I'm an OG, I'm an expert in terms of helping people now using crypto to buy houses, to buy cars, to use it for the purpose that it was designed in terms of financial freedom. I've been blessed both as a user of crypto and as a financial educator and as well as a tax expert in making sure that people make the right decisions, whether it's a bull market or bear market, government audits, them denouncing their citizenship in both Canada or the US, going to different parts of the world, crypto corporate structures, we'll get into that, but those are some of the fun things that I've done. And, both myself and all the 44 employees, including Kevin, Rui, Celia, Doug, we've done tremendous in terms of helping so many crypto users in Canada and the US predominantly, but also other parts in the world like Singapore, Malaysia, Hong Kong, UAE, Bulgaria, Qatar, Kuwait. I can be here all day, Avi, and tell you, but those are some of the work that we've done, and I'm very proud of it.
Yeah, that's an amazing journey. If you think about it, since 2011, you've seen all the crashes, all the the exchanges that blew up on us. A lot of changes definitely came, since the days of the dark web trading to today, when it's on every regulated exchange and ETFs. That's a incredible amount of change in a relatively short time.
And I would say it's ups and downs. 1 hour is a lot of time in crypto. 1 hour is it's the things that move in 1 hour is it's instrumental when you're a crypto user. You go through proper your hard work money, after tax money that you go and invest, and all of a sudden Celsius and Alex Machinsky goes down, and all of a sudden you have to start all over again. If you have not been scammed in crypto, you're not you're lying to someone. Every single person that I've seen who's in crypto have been scammed, has participated in leverage, participated in every single thing that's going in a run-up. And I've seen all kinds of things. And the most recent one was people doing those AIs, virtual AIs, and all these virtual agents. And now I'm working with people doing tax returns who created virtual AIs, hyperliquids, leverage trading, all these kind of things. Those are some of the things that I'm doing right now to help people. But I've seen every single bull market, every single bear market going back to 2011. And I would say that I'm an experienced both user and an accountant in terms of helping traders and investors and people that are builders. Those are big things that are important in the crypto. And as we move towards AI, I want to be able to take myself and all my fellow employees to be able to help more and more people. We're in the oceans right now. So the ocean has a lot of fish, and we want to help all the fish as much as possible in terms of making sure that they have a financial freedom.
I wonder how long until the tax agents themselves will be using AI agents to look for people's gains, or in our cases right now, losses.
It's coming. It's coming. Governments, especially in Canada and Revenue Quebec and the IRS, if I can just share a little bit. When you look at the tax returns, both in Canada and the US, there are questions now where they're asking, are you a crypto holder? If you say yes, great. They want to know who you are. If you say no, and then they catch you that you're using crypto, they penalize you, okay? Up to a maximum penalties and interest. What is important for you as regular crypto users, and again, in Canada, there is about 17% of the population that use crypto, okay? Not all of them report all their crypto transactions, and that's something that is daunting. Governments, and in the US, the number is higher. So in Canada, there's 17. In the US, it's about 32% of the population are in some sort of crypto activity, okay? Whether they're holders or traders or builders, or they have an account. And those numbers are something that I've been watching. Now, most recently, Canada Revenue sent 440,000 audit letters, okay? 440,000 audit letters. Those audit letters are an inquiry to find out if you are a crypto user. And depending on how you answer those questions, they will send you a follow-up question. And all of a sudden, that's how audit starts. It always starts with an inquiry, then moves to an audit, then moves to penalties and interest, okay? And the amount of accountants in Canada and the US that understand crypto, it's crazy. All of them rely on a crypto tax software. Nobody's applying education on how to help the user who's going to the professional. So now, not only that I'm helping people that are coming to me for brand new, I'm also helping people that went to other accountants And there are mistakes that now I'm doing a voluntary disclosure, both in Canada and the US. I'm fixing and redoing all their tax return to report all these transactions. So one thing that I will leave you as the audience is that a lot of people misunderstand how crypto is taxed in Canada and the US. People think that tax only applies when you're cashing out. I want you to know that every single time crypto creates a tax event without even touching a fiat. CRA and IRS, they look at activity, not just labels. Most people never read any guidance that are published by the IRS or CRA. So until it's too late. And then they go to Grok and then they go to ChatGPT and they're like, oh my God, I made all these mistakes. No, it's always important to have a partner, somebody who knows how to do it. So that way that you can use them as a sound guidance in terms of making sure you're on the right side of the law. And that is very, very important because a lot of people think, oh yeah, taxes only applies when I sell in Canadian dollars or US dollars. No, selling, swapping, spending, they're all taxable events. Using crypto to pay is treated like a sale. Okay, again, that's a taxable event. Holding a loan is not taxable. However, each swap is viewed as its own transaction. So when you swap from Ethereum to Bitcoin or Bitcoin to Hyperliquid, each one of them is a transaction that you have to report for tax purposes. Okay, so whether the gains are small or low amounts, it has to be reported. There is no minimum threshold. Every small gain is technically taxable. Consistency matters more than its size. And I don't want people to keep repeating the same mistakes where the government is now saying, oh yeah, whether it's a small omission or big omission, it's a red flag, right? So I don't want you to have red flags. I want you to be on the right side of the law. And that's something that we take pride on, educating our clients and the general public. Every single day, if you go to our website, block3finance.com, and you go to resources and you go to articles, every single day, we publish 2 articles, okay, related to crypto. And the reason why we do that is that we want the general public, we want to help the general public because guidance and regulations and IRS, what they say, and CRA, what they say, they talk on legal terms that the average user doesn't understand. So we take that legal jargons, interpret it to an English that you would understand. So that way that if you are doing staking, you can sit back and you can say, okay, this is how taxes works related to staking. This is how it works when I'm swapping. Those are some of the educations that we've done for a lot of people. And they're thankful and grateful for that. So when I go from one event, Census to ETH Denver to all these different crypto conferences, and I say, oh, I'm the owner of Block3, everybody says, oh my God, Mahad, your articles, they're amazing. I've learned so much from it. And those are some of the things that I can sit back and say, wow, I'm actually doing the right thing for the community. And I'm very proud that I'm doing all these things to help a community that doesn't get guidance, that doesn't get education, that doesn't get awareness, and they're tackled every single time from banking. They're tackled every single time from governments. They're tackled every single time from them even having to pay for their tuition or their credit card bills because crypto is dangerous. Crypto is a scam. Crypto is this. That's what the legacy world says, but that's not what I say. I want to help more and more individuals that are in the crypto space, and that's my mission.
That's a great mission. And we've seen tax authorities all over the world give, misleading, confusing, totally unclear advice to users or traders at times. And it's definitely something that you wouldn't want to, rely on ChatGPT to guide you through if you make mistakes, dealing with these type of agencies that can have a lot of ramifications.
Yeah, I agree with you, Abby. And people use ChatGPT, which is fantastic. You should use all the resources that are available to you. But does it apply to you? Is it customized to your situation? I'll give you an example. People are now using AI to do automated trading. Okay, very easy. It's one thing to be proactive. It's another thing to be reactive. So if you want to do automated trading, you should go to our website and type automated trading and read how the regulations and the laws applies to you. Okay? You should educate yourself before you dive in, because once you dive in, it's too late to go to ChatGPT and say, oh, I did this, and how does taxes work? And all of a sudden you have an exposure for yourself. Some of the things that we do is that we take, we're humble enough to be able to say, hey, let me educate you so that way that you are doing the right thing by the law. Okay? So for example, if you are a trader and you're using automated trading, if you go to Coinly and you start doing crypto tax report, I guarantee you Coinly is going to treat you as an investor. But the government is going to say, you're not an investor, you're a day trader, because you're using automated trading. And all of a sudden, you're at the wrong side of the law. And then guess what happens? The government goes back 7 years of audits, 3 years, and then 7 years of audits. They apply all kinds of payment penalties and interest, and people are filing bankruptcy. Okay? The right side of the law is if you're doing automated trading, or if you're a day trader, or you're taking daily staking income, great. Talk to us. Let us set up a proper corporation. Okay? Do Section 85 rollover, so you sell all your assets to the corporation, and then do all the trading and the activity and everything you want in that corporation. Okay? And then what happens is that the government is not going to say, oh, you're an investor or day trader, let's look at the law. You don't have to rely on Coinly, who's going to say that you're an investor. You can rely on us to help you make the right decision. And you know what the taxes is, Abby? If you're doing day trading on a personal level and your income is $150,000, the government is going to say, your marginal tax rate is 49% for taxes, 50 up to 53%. All of a sudden, you have to fork and pay your profits as a day trader to the government at 49 to 53% taxes in Canada. Okay? Where in a corporation, the same $150,000 gain, rather than having to pay 47 to 53% in a personal, you're only paying 12.2%. 12.2%, up to $500,000. The tax rate as a day trader in a corporation is 12.2%. Why would you not want to do that? Why would you go to ChatGPT afterwards and ask a question when it's already too late? Why would you not be proactive and come to Block3 and ask those questions? Those are some of the things that we've been on the right side of the law for so many clients in helping them. We want to make sure that they're happy that it's not what you make is what you keep. I keep saying this because it's really true. Why would you pay 47 versus paying 12.2% in Canada, right? And in the US is similar. It's 15%. This is what we do for our clients in terms of making sure that they keep everything as opposed to just keep giving. That's not right. And I'm so proud of the team that I've built. It's not taught in school. Crypto is not taught in school, but that's something that we've done in terms of educating our clients and making sure that we help them. So that way that nothing is misread. There's no future problems. There's no fees later on. And, everything that we look at if it's taxable or not taxable. And that's something that we're take pride in helping so many clients.
Yeah, those are huge differences. Can you explain, on a basic level, beyond just, if you're using automated trading or not, what is the difference that the tax agencies see in someone who's an investor or someone who's a trader? Like, how do they define it?
No, good question. So first thing first, Canada Revenue Agency and IRS and Revenue Quebec, they think alike. Okay. When I say they think alike, they send you an 8-page questionnaire. That 8-page questionnaire contains about 30 questions. And those questions asks, how did you get into crypto? How much education do you have on crypto? How many hours per week do you spend on crypto? What exchanges do you use? These are the questions to ask. You would send them the response, and based on the response, they say, okay, this guy spends a lot of hours, watches all kinds of YouTube channels, and understands crypto. He's a savvy crypto user. Great. Then 6 weeks later, they send you an audit letter. They say, Abby, thank you for answering all my questions. I need all the CSV files of all the exchanges and the DEXs and all these things that you've done. Please send it to me. You have 15 days. And then they look at the CSV file, and then they look at the tax return that you filed, because they already have that tax return. And then afterwards, they would say to you, how did you reconcile and come up with these gains to report it on your tax return? Because I see something else. Then you say, oh my God, what do you see? And CRA and IRS and Revenue Quebec, they will never show you their cards, because they also have the powers to go to contact these agencies, because it's treaty-based countries, these exchanges and all these things. Now, one of the things that I want to educate the general public, and I grab a microphone, and my microphone is not so loud, right? So one of the things that I like to tell them is that look at the CSV file. The transaction amounts, the quantities, I'm not talking about the dollar sign. I'm talking about the number of transactions, okay? The number of transactions, if it's more than 10 to 15 for the whole year, okay, you better sit back and say, am I a day trader or am I an investor? That's how the government agencies look at it. And if you are trading more than 15 transactions, or your staking and rewards and the passive income is more than 15 transactions that you're getting, you better have a really good accountant that can back you up in case you get audited. So that's the difference between an investor and a day trader. And what you could do is that if you are more than 15 transactions, you better do a review with a good accountant whether you should be doing these in a corporation or whether you understand the laws, the implications of it, that governments might come back to you and say that you're a day trader.
That's crazy. So even if you just, dollar cost average every month, and let's say 3 times you got maybe a airdrop or staking or something like that, and you're already as a trader in their eyes.
Well, you just said too many things at once. You said if you're doing dollar cost averaging, all you're doing is buying. Okay, that's not a taxable event. Okay, what is a taxable event? That's a Michael Saylor type. All he's doing is buying dollar cost averaging. What if you're getting staking rewards? So let's say that I'm gonna pick 2 coins. Let's just say Solana and Cardano. If you are staking Solana, and what I don't like about crypto exchanges and DEXs is that they pay you on a daily basis. Where if you go to a financial institution, they pay you when the contract matures. So let's say if you're doing a GIC for 1 year, they pay you at the end of 1 year. But in crypto, they pay you on a daily basis, those Solana staking rewards, okay? The staking amounts. And then if you're using, crypto.com, and you're getting rewards, you're getting daily rewards. And because each one is counting as a transaction, there is a valid argument that CRA and IRS and Revenue Quebec can come back and say, hey, Abby, I have every reason to believe that you are a day trader. Well, then you're going to say, oh my God, I never bought anything. These were staking rewards. Yeah, great. Regulation, the interpretation of the law says that I define based on this, even though it's 100 years old, those laws, it applies to you, but they haven't updated for crypto users. So they take someone who's in the stock market and someone who's in crypto, they apply the same laws to it. This is why, when XRP was going through the Howey test, everybody was saying, oh, the Howey test is 100 years old. It's not a security, But what happened? The IRS, everybody was fighting using the Howey test. And the governments, our governments, okay, IRS and Canada Revenue, they have not updated for crypto users, and then they have not updated for, the stock market users.
Yeah, that's definitely not the ideal situation if you're using, 100 years outdated terms to judge current technologies. I mean, like the Solana example is really crazy. I don't know. What about just if you have your own wallets, right? You just transfer between your own wallets. Is that taxable?
So moving from buying on a centralized exchange and moving to a cold storage, from a legal standpoint, is not taxable, okay? Because all you're doing is that you don't like one place and you're moving to another place. So let me give you a legacy example. Let's say if I had $1,000 at one bank, Bank of America, and I don't like Bank of America, my $1,000 is there, I don't like Bank of America. I take my $1,000 and then I move it to a bank called Royal Bank. It's still the same $1,000. What an accountant and what we do at Block3 is that we understand that you moved 1,000 from one bank to the other. It's not a taxable event. However, when you use tax softwares like Coinly and crypto tax and all of these things, what they do is that they count it as a transaction. They count it as you making a taxable transaction, and that's not good. Okay. And if you have a good accountant and you're getting audited, my audit response to the CRA or IRS or Revenue Quebec is saying, look, Abby moved $1,000 from one place and then 1,000 Cardanos, and moved it to this wallet, 1,000 Cardanos. It's not a taxable event. And the on-chain, the text ID, okay, on the blockchain shows me that you moved that 1,000 to 1,000. So that's how I've been winning audits. That some of the clients that have approached us, that's how I've been able to defend and argue that.
Yeah, that should make sense. But obviously, if you get stuck with someone who doesn't understand, they can consider it like a withdrawal, right?
Yeah, exactly. They can. And look, exchanges, they lack clear summaries, and there's a lot of platform limitations as well. Doesn't matter what you're using, a DEX, a centralized, a cold storage. They have limitations in terms of how you get reports and how you get data. And accountants, they don't want to look at your CSV file and look at your blockchain addresses to analyze transactions, because that's not what they went to school for. Makes sense. For me, because I've been in crypto and I'm a crypto user on a daily basis, I understand what somebody like Abby would be doing in order for me to be able to say, Abby, you have 6 wallets, and those 6 wallets, you have Bitcoin everywhere. And I need to do the dollar cost average of all your Bitcoin on those 6 wallets, okay? And then at the end of the year, from January to December, because taxes are based on calendar year in Canada and the US, I have to take January to December and I have to give you a report called Crypto Tax Report, where Abby now has all his coins, all 15 coins that you have, the average cost of each, the fair market value of each, and what did you sell and what you didn't sell. At the end of the year, on December 31st, what was your fair market value of all your coins, including the staking? Then I take the staking income, I report it on a different line. I take your capital gains, I report it on a separate line. And then if you're a day trader, I don't report it as a capital gain, I report it as a business income. And that is difficult for accountants to do. That is difficult for platforms to do, like exchanges and so forth. And forget about you. You are going to an accountant, you're relying on what the government should be publishing. You don't have a lot of resources, and government now is building AIs. Government is coming after you, and the government is now going to say, hey, Abby, I made all the publications already. You should have read all these publications. Now you're on the hook for all these penalties and interest. What are you going to do at that point? People just throw out their hands and they say, oh my God, I've been ripped off, But the point of the matter is, it's better to be proactive and hire Block3 Finance. Let me help you make good decisions, so that way that you don't have to look at all your crypto reports. You don't have to worry about the treatment and how tax rates apply and how is reporting done. And we give you a standardized reporting for your records that you need to maintain and keep for the next 7 years.
So what happens when someone doesn't have records, right? Either they're missing, or they're a long time ago, and it's previous wallets and whatnot.
And good question. Let's look at Quadriga, okay? When Quadriga went down, when Mt. Gox went down, when Celsius went down, A lot of people were not able to be Binance.com when they left Canada. A lot of people are not able to get hold of those CSV files. And let's say that they're getting audited. Okay. If you had Block3 Finance in your pocket, this is what we would do. We would gather all the emails, because one thing good that centralized exchanges do is that when you buy something, they send you an email. So let's say that you bought Bitcoin. You bought 1 Bitcoin on Quadriga, you get an email. So we would go back to those emails, because emails have a date, time, and addresses. And then what we do is that we take and create a manual process in order to account for those transactions, because it's not available on, there's no text ID, okay? Unless there is a text ID, then we can go to on-chain and we can use it as part of our crypto report. So at times when the person has missing documentation and there is a foreign exchange exposures, or they have inconsistency reporting and all of this, first thing we do is we ask for the CSV files. And then we obtain all the emails, and then we try to put a report together. Now, one thing I want you to know, in law, it's not what you have. It's how you use what you have, okay? That's very important, because there is the rule of law, and then there is the spirit of law, okay? So let's just say that Avi is a good citizen. He always reports his taxes, and all of a sudden Celsius went down. It's not your fault that Celsius went down. But if you had Block3 Finance, I would say, listen, IRS, I understand and I know the rule of law. The rule of law is that Avi should have reported all these income. Here's what happened. Celsius went down. It's not Avi's fault. Avi relied on Celsius to give him reports. Avi should have logged in and downloaded these reports. But now Celsius is not around. Now let's look at the spirit of law. If Avi should have access to Celsius, he would have been compliant and reported everything. But the spirit of law, he came to us and hired Block3 Finance, and now we're putting the pieces together. And the spirit of law says this, and you cannot penalize somebody like Avi who relied on someone else, but instead now he's getting the rule of law right, so apply and forgive him for all these penalties and interest. And because it's how you use what you have, and you have a good accountant behind you, we've been able to get a lot of penalties and interest waived. And I made so many clients happy. And that is my purpose. And that's what makes me keep coming to work every day, and to be able to help more and more and more people, because they don't have help. And this is what Block3 Finance has been doing since 2011 until forever. I promise you, if I'm gone from this earth, there is somebody else at Block3 Finance that will continue to help crypto users. And that's what I've built. And that's very important for a lot of people to understand, that it's not about coming to work and making money. Money, I can make money. And money is not what drives me to work. What drives me to work is helping more and more people understand that in this sector where there is no help, I'm your guidance. We are here to help you. And this is something that we're very proud of.
Yeah, it's definitely something to be proud of, and it's a good life mission. I mean, if you've been in Bitcoin since 2011, right? You have the financial freedom to focus on what you love to do, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it becomes a purpose of enjoyment now. Everything becomes option. Do I want to come to work, or do I have to go to work? That's the question that I ask myself every day. But what I say is that, hey, look, I have 11 appointments today. I'm going to go and help every single one of them, whether they're broke or whether they're rich, because money is not why I come to work. So if you are a crypto project who's making a volume of $20 million or $200 million every 24 hours, or if you're making $20 on a profit, I will treat you the same. And this is where, because there's no government backing, there's not a lot of support, there's not a lot of educational awareness in the community, This is what Block3 Finance has been able to do so well, to the point where we're saying, look, I will help you, I will defend you, I will go to this. Look, if you pay me $100 for your crypto report, okay? Let's say that you and I did this transaction today. 3 years from now, you get audited. Do you know what our purpose? Do you know what we say clearly in black and white? We say, Avi, because we did this crypto tax report, we are going to go and defend it to the government, and we're not going to invoice you again. Okay? Go find another accountant that will tell you that they're not going to invoice you again. Please. There isn't one. Block3 Finance is the only one that you pay for, and then we can defend it for the next 7 years if you get audited. For anything that you pay us today, anytime for the next 7 years, any government agency asks a question about that service that we provided, we will answer them for free. And there has been a couple people, I would say maybe half a dozen of people that have been asked to provide that. And we've said to them, James, it's okay. You already paid me for this. There's no other fee. And you know what they say? Really, Mahad? Are you sure? It's a lot of work. No, it's okay. No problem. Let the government agency come to our office and we will show them everything. It will take 6 hours. There's no invoice for you. And that's something that we're very proud of, that nobody else does it in the community other than Block3 Finance.
Yeah, that's a great offer. Helps people rest more easy. If you have up to 7 years of, worrying about the taxman suddenly deciding to audit you retroactively, definitely knowing that, you worked with an expert that's willing to take that on, free of charge. That's really impressive.
It's good. And one thing that now I'm doing as a portion of education for people is making sure that it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Okay? When you die, the beneficiaries, the executor, the people that you love, how do they get access to those crypto? Do you have a proper will? Do you have a proper documentation? Do they know all the wallets? Do they know all the seed phrases? Where should you store them in terms of helping the next generation? Because, Rockefeller, good old Uncle Charlie, his great grandchildren know good old Uncle Charlie, okay? They know who the Rockefeller is. But what legacy are you leaving for your family in order for them to be able to have the means to utilize those Bitcoins? Because there's always going to be a bull market. That's one thing I love about crypto. There will always going to be a bull market. What are you leaving for your family? And that's something that I'm very proud of, that I try to help more people realize that it's not about you. Life is not about you. This is not what you're doing. You're not doing Bitcoin for short term. You're doing it for long term. But what happens if your time is up? How is your wife or your husband going to be beneficial to those wallets? All these things that you worked so hard for, that you invested, how are they going to get access to them? And that is very important, because I've seen a lot of deaths in crypto. And then people come to me and they say, how do I get access to these wallets? And I'm like, I don't know. But then I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to provide a financial education for people to make a mission that they should have an up-to-date will, so the government doesn't get access to, as a probate in Ontario, taxes and death taxes and all of that. But I want to make sure that, they're passing all that information to the next generation to help more and more families.
Yeah, I think if there's anything people like to think less of than taxes, is death. So definitely can see the need for education right there, because most of us don't want to think about it until I guess it's too late, and you have to handle the situation when it arrives, which is not the smart way.
I agree. So for any of you guys that are out there listening to this audio, I want you to do yourself a favor. It's only going to cost you $75 to $100 to make a will. So make a mission for yourself to have a proper will. Maybe talk to your spouse, to the people who's your executor, and let them know that you're a crypto user and where do you store your ledgers. And that's something that you should pass on that next generation and help more and more people, because death and taxes are both guaranteed. It's just a matter of when. It's not a matter of if, right? No, nobody should be saying, if I die. No, you are going to die. It's when you die, what's going to happen, right? That's something that I've been sharing with a lot of people.
Yeah, that's sort of, there's some things you cannot escape, and death and taxes are right up there.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's try to understand the more, I don't know if to call it cutting edge, but more new use cases, like staking, crypto rewards, passive income. How is that, airdrops, of course, how is that taxed, and why is it different than, like you mentioned, capital gains in the old traditional finance world?
Right. No, good question. When you're buying, like a Michael Saylor, what he's doing is that he's buying more of the same, and he's increasing or decreasing his average purchase price. He's doing a dollar cost average. That is what a lot of people should be doing. But then a lot of people say, I have all these Bitcoins. I want to participate in a loan. I want to stake it. I want to grow my money. Mahad, I'm not thinking about it right now. This is for my future. I have 20 Bitcoins. I don't want to touch it. I want to stake it. All these things are great. But understanding the tax implications is very important. Okay. And again, regulations and governments, they're not doing a lot of education. So what we do, we explain to someone that income received is taxable when it's received. The fair market value upon receipt of that staking rewards is taxable. And this is why it's important to set up a corporation, because when you set up a corporation, whether you're receiving daily or frequent rewards or staking or airdrops, and everything of that wallet is going to a corporation, it belongs to that corporation, that wallet address. I have a way in order to defend it and say that, look, all these staking and the rewards and the airdrops was earned, and it's for the profit of the corporation. And it should be taxed at this rate. You can still do it. Nothing's stopping you from doing it. I just want you to understand the tax implications of it and the legal structure around between what is yours and how you can transfer it to a corporation using Section 85 rollover. And where the future is heading is that as crypto advances, and now we have all these real world assets, and Ondo being one of them, and among so many other these assets, it's important for you to be able to build the right way and have the right legal structures and the tax structures backing you should anything happens. Whether where government goes, I want to see, or an exchange goes bankrupt, or an exchange, or I talked about earlier that a lot of platforms have limitation, and a lot of people, they report the staking as a business income, or they report it as a capital gains, and the government says no. These beginning of the year you only had 1,000 Solana. How do you have 1,200 Solanas at the end of the year? How did you get these 200 Solanas? Right? But those 200 Solanas was because you received staking rewards throughout the year, or you received airdrops. And that is very important to explain on black and white. Not using a tax software to explain it on black and white. And Block3 Finance, we divide between what's yours, what you staked, and what you received as a reward as a result of you staking 1,000 Solana. That 200 should be staking income. It should be interest income. And that's what we do for a lot of our clients, to be able to distinguish, so that way that they know exactly how much they own with their hard work money and how much do they receive as a reward or as an airdrop.
And for starting a business or corporation to register under, would you recommend that for any level of trading, or is there from a certain amount of money, or is it's all just if you have a certain number of transactions? per year you should do it?
I get asked that question all the time, Abby, and I was just waiting. When is Abby going to ask that question? Which is great. Look, I've seen people that invested $85,000 and they turned that $85,000 into $12 million. Okay, in crypto. And I've also seen people that had 85,000 and they lost all of them. Now, what is important for you to understand is not about how much money that you are staking. It's about the activity behind it. Because earlier I said, bull market always comes every 4 years. Okay. And I've been grateful to see so many bull markets. And I've been grateful to say to so many people, it's okay. You can always rebuild. There's not going to be a bear market where you can buy more. Okay. And here we are. Today we're in a bear market. So, Bitcoin is not $126,000 anymore. That now is an opportunity for you to buy. This is what I love about crypto. And it's important to understand that if you're making certain transactions, you should always have a good understanding. Should you incorporate or should you not incorporate? And that is very important. So to me, what I would say to everybody who's listening is that if you have more than $50,000 in crypto, and you're not doing dollar cost average, you should do it in a corporation. Okay? You should do it in a corporation because when bull market comes, your 50,000 is now going to be 200,000. Then what? Well, you can't go back and register a corporation now, can you? No, you can't. You can, but then the thing is you're waiving your ability to save on taxes. And to make a corporation, Block3 Finance can do that. And it takes me 3 to 5 days to set up everything for you. If you wanted to incorporate, I would just need certain information, which I have a checklist. You complete that checklist for me, depending on where you are, whether you're in Ireland or Bulgaria or Singapore or Asia market or Nepal, US, Canada, doesn't matter where you are in the world. Kenya, Mozambique, Botswana. Tell me that you want to incorporate and I'll get it done in 3 to 5 days. The worst case, it takes me a week. It takes me 7 days. Once I do that, I will explain it to you. Here's your booklet. Now you can go to the bank and open a checking account and as well as get a company credit card. So that way that all your transactions are now set up in a legal structure. And then the second part, after you set up the corporation, Avi, what I would say is that, okay, these are the wallet addresses that you have. You have 6 wallet addresses. Great. Let me transfer the property and the ownership of those 6 wallet addresses of all the things that's contained in that wallet addresses to the corporation. Okay? Depending on the country's law. In Canada, there's something called Section 85 election. I will use Section 85 election to transfer all the assets of those 6 wallets that you own personally, Avi, to the corporation. And from now on, the corporation owns it. The corporation is going to report it on their balance sheet. The corporation is going to pay the taxes. It has nothing to do with you, Abby. And if you sell, you receive staking income or all this, or when you die, the corporation continues to live. Okay? And because the corporation continues to live, guess what? Your wife is going to come and she's going to say, Mahad, Abby did all this stuff in the corporation. Yeah, great. We're going to do it again next year for the taxes for the corporation. And the Bitcoin continues to stay there. And all the wallets addresses now belongs to the corporation. And that's something very powerful that a lot of people don't talk about in terms of saving taxes, in terms of transferring wealth, in terms of doing estate planning, in terms of making sure that you have a succession plan. Those are the things that I've been able to do for a lot of people that are in crypto at Block3.
All very important topics to keep in mind as you're planning your estate, as you call it. Yeah. Okay. So another thing, like if we're trying to understand the more complex parts of crypto reporting, is of course DeFi. Can you explain, how hard is DeFi to report on your tax report, and how do you handle it?
Yeah, good. DeFi and NFTs, I would say that they're hard to report because there's no standardized reporting, complex transaction flows. There's a lot of software limitations, multiple events inside one action, swaps, all these kind of things. One of the things that we focus on and why it's so difficult for tech software is that we understand how to be able to bridge the gap and record the transactions and pool it and reconcile all the DeFi and the NFTs. So because there's no standardized reporting, we have a solution for that. Okay, we have the crypto tax report for that. And we could do it in as quickly, let's say if you had 1,000 transactions, we could do it as fast as 2 hours. Okay, get you a report. Because of our experience and us, when You're in Finance came, when Ave came, I participated in the ICOs those years, right? When those years were, in order for me to be able to understand how DeFi's work. And because there's a lot of software limitations when you're using a crypto tax report with Coinly and others, we've been able to figure out that if you are a crypto DeFi user, one of the things that we need to understand is that Phantom Wallet and Aave and lending and all these different types of things, we're able to produce the crypto tax report. And there are so many people that don't want to use exchanges and they prefer to use OpenSea for creating NFT or Solana protocol or Cardano or virtual AIs and so forth. Those are all the type of things that we've been able to help more and more people. One thing before I forget, Abby, again, when we're talking about so hard to report in terms of for purposes of taxes and accounting and balance sheet, is Polymarket. Okay, Polymarket winnings and all these kind of things. So during the election of the U.S. election, a lot of people did Polymarket, and I wrote a lot of articles on it. It's on our website. Winnings, frequent winnings, has tax implications. But if you go to the convenience store and you buy a lottery ticket, there's no taxes in Canada. Okay, so let's say that if you paid $6.49 in Canada at a convenience store and you won $10 million, there's no taxes. However, in Canada, if you did if you did a Polymarket and you predicted the election and you won $10 million, it's taxable. And I was busy trying to educate people why Polymarket winnings is taxable, because they're not buying with their Canadian dollars, they're buying with crypto. And crypto is a transaction. A transaction is a taxable transaction. So because of all these things that are happening and crypto is evolving from just buying coins and selling coins, and now you're doing DeFi, NFTs, Polymarket, all these type of things, because there's no standardized reporting, we've been able to figure that solution for these users, and we've been able to back it up with government audits and enforcements and all these type of things. And I've not lost one single audit, both in Canada, the US, the UK, in Ireland, and Australia. When audits comes, you can rely on Block3 Finance to help you, and I've not lost one case. And I've been doing taxes for all these people for all these years. And mainly because of us understanding the crypto environment and how we can apply the rules and the laws through the rule of law and the spirit of law.
And what usually triggers an audit? Like, what makes them, from your experience, from handling all these audits, like what usually bring them about?
The triggers of crypto audits is usually inconsistent reporting, high activity with low declared income, foreign exchange exposures, not having all the documentation. Those would be the top 4 that I can think of right now. And this is something that I've seen constantly. So for example, somebody would treat themselves as an investor because Coinly report said that they're an investor. And then they would get audited and then they would send the Coinly report, and then they would say, CRA would say, oh, no, you're not an investor, you're a day trader. Again, it comes down to the high activity trading and understanding the rule of law, right? But if you had Block3 Finance, and we're looking at the activity report based on the CSV file, we will come to you and say, look, listen, the inconsistency reporting that is done here, we need to figure that out. Because let's say, for example, if you're trading, Richard Hart's coin, Hex, well, it's not on any exchange, but if you carry them, you need to have those crypto tax report. Those are some of the things that's very important. And understanding whether the exchange is in this jurisdiction or an offshore jurisdiction. So, for example, somebody's holding leverage trading on Mexi. Well, Mexi is in Seychelles in Africa, and you're a Canadian, you reside in Canada. You should be reporting a foreign income and foreign exchange reporting because Mexi is in Seychelles, right? So people not understanding those are some of the things that triggers a crypto audit. And when crypto audits comes, oh my goodness, you don't get to sleep anymore. It's like stressful environment, because I used to be an auditor for the government. And when I was an auditor for the government, one of the things that I do is like, oh, Adi, I got you. I got you, brother. This is what's going to happen. But for me, it's more of saying, listen, Adi, you don't want to get into this situation because this is what's going to happen. This is how we're going to fix it. And then for the next 7 years, if you get audited, it's free of charge for you. I will defend it. How does that sound? Right? And that's something that I've been doing consistently for a lot of people.
Yeah, that's definitely helped you sleep better at night. Yeah. So what about money that you already lost, right? We know a lot about hacks. We talked about the exchanges pulling out or just rugging clients. What do you do with losses? I know in stocks, right, you can harvest those for like protect your other income, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. So I've seen so many hacks, lost because of exchange going bankrupt or not existent anymore, unplugging, rugged funds, where people pull money and then they get rugged. Look, government doesn't care, okay? They want you to have proper documentation. So if you were coming to me with those three subjects, I would say, show me the documentation. And the losses are not automatic. So there's a process, okay? In order to claim those losses, we have to do certain things because exchanges don't provide you with all these things. What you just said, stocks. Of course, the financial institution will send you a report. They will say, oh, you lost these coins. They're penny stocks. They're no longer on the market. They give you documentation. So if you get audited, the government already has all those copies, right? Well, in crypto, the government doesn't have anything. So how do you show those losses because they're not automatic? As an accountant, one of the things that I do is that I need to quantify the losses and I need to explain those losses. And when I claim those losses on your tax return, I will defend it, right? So again, documentation matters. Reporting approach, our reporting approach always determines what the outcome would be. So if I was your accountant, I would say to you, Abby, based on you getting rugged for $100,000, this is what we're going to do. And this is what I'm going to do. This is what you're going to do. I need you to go and file a police report and give me the police report number. I need you to go to the Canadian anti-money, frauds. And I need you to get me the federal file number. And then I will draft a memo. I will claim those losses. And then if CRA audits, and I would say, hey, look, Abby did his part, which is to report, document. Here's all the documentation. Here's what we did about it. And this is why these reports, these losses are valid. And again, every single situation, I've been able to defend it and I've been able to win. And it's case by case, facts by facts. Not everything applies all at once. ChatGPT might say, oh, your losses can be claimable. but it's not always the case. So I need to see all the facts and documentation and everything in order to help you make a proper decision.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it's like when your car gets stolen, you have to report it to the police just so you can go to the insurance to get the claim.
Yeah, no, definitely. And again, when your car is stolen, the financial institution doesn't give you a tax slip, right? Doesn't give you a tax report. So exactly, because car is treated as a property, crypto is also treated as a commodity or a property. So the same rules apply. You're correct.
Got it. So I think we learned a lot. So I guess the last question for today will be about the future. Where do you see taxation and enforcement heading? What are the changes that you're seeing?
Right. I'm helping a lot of people right now, making them incorporated. Okay. So the structuring and the future of crypto now is going to be here. It's here to stay. Okay, because it's gone through a lot of tests, and I firmly believe that crypto is here to stay. So structuring is very important, and when I'm incorporating, it starts to make sense. Is I need everybody to look at, if they have high volume or frequency, the audit risk will always be there. AI is going to make it easier for governments. It's important for you to be able to work with the right accountant, and having a long-term trend or view or curve view is very important in crypto. So one of the things that I will see in the next 2-3 years is increased audits, on-chain analysis, global data sharing, less tolerance for errors. The government now has been providing a lot of information, so nobody cannot say, "Oh, I thought." There's no "I thought," because education is now build awareness, and because now there's awareness, the governments are going to have less tolerance for errors. And of course, there's CARF. CARF is going to be global data sharing as of 2027. We're already quarter way of 2026, 2027. Every single country has now signed an agreement saying that they're going to have a global sharing of information. So if Abby has a wallet in South Africa, guess what? They're going to know in that information. The IRS is going to know that information. So, but what are you doing about it, Abby? What is the community doing about it? Nobody's talking about it, except for Block3 Finance right now. And that is very important for you to be able to have that awareness, to be able to have the right accountant, and for you to be able to make a lot of the things, plant the seeds, right? So at our firm and all the listeners, thank you for taking the time, to stay till the end. One of the things that we're so proud at Block3 Finance is that if you want to ask questions, the first 30 minutes is a free consultation for you, for the listeners of Bitcoin.com. Okay? So if you are going to email us or inquire, just say that you heard us from Bitcoin.com. That is the phrase. That's the secret. That's the coupon code. Okay, whatever you want to call it. And we'll give you 30 minutes of free consultation. And in that 30 minutes, we'll answer every single question that you have. And if you're looking for a strategic approach or to help you with your tax filing or to create a defensible positions, and to avoid real scrutiny from government entities, I'll be able to help you. Kevin will be able to help you. All the 44 employees that work here and more will be able to take good care of you. And I got to 44 accountants in the last 2 years. Okay, so as the growth of crypto grows, I'm building more and more accountants to learn about crypto and to help you and to help everybody else in terms of making sure that you're taken care of and that you understand the rule of law and the spirit of law, so that way that we can make progress together.
That's a great offer, Mahad. Thank you very much for that. And I think anyone who listened this far is definitely afraid enough that they want to do it, to understand it. And talking about the future, like we said in the beginning, soon there's going to be the IRS AI agents, right? They're claw bots going to be crawling all over the world looking for you. So definitely everybody needs to, get a handle of their taxes and, get the best service that they can. So we thank you so much for coming today and, making this offer and talking to our, our audience and helping keep people informed.
Yeah, no, thank you so much, Avi, for having me, and for Bitcoin.com having us at Block3 Finance. It's been fun. I'm happy to share all the knowledge. And as I always say, we're far from finished. And there's more work that we have to do at Block3 Finance. And Bitcoin.com, the more that we're loud and the microphone gets bigger, the more people that we can help, and help the community at large. So thank you so much again. And looking forward to working with you more and more and more as years go by.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.